Good morning, students. Sairam. Today we'll be just revising the political science lesson number 4, that is the United Nations, UN. We have already done a detailed study of this lesson. Now just we'll revise in short once again. Now, in this lesson, we have learnt about the formation of the United Nations organization. As we know that it is an international organization and it was established to ensure peace and security at the international level, and it had some objectives and principles, and so that is what we have learnt in the lesson about the main objectives, its principles, and the structure of the United Nations organization. We have also learnt about the background of this formation of this organization. As we have seen that after the First World War, one organization, that is the League of Nations, was formed, but it proved to be unsuccessful in order to maintain peace and security in the country, and so it resulted into the Second World War. And as a result, the next organization need to be formed, which was for maintaining peace and security in the country, and that was nothing but the United Nations organization. Then we learnt about the chronology of the establishment of the UN. That is, the Atlantic Treaty was signed between the ministers of England, Sir Winston Churchill, and American President Franklin Roosevelt during the Second World War on 14th of August 1941. And what was there in this treaty? It was a decision was taken in order to set up permanent mechanism to establish international security after the Second World War. So also detailed discussions was followed on this decision, and in two conferences, and allied powers in 1944 and 1945, and a draft of the treaty to establish an international organization was prepared. At San Francisco in America, representatives of around 50 countries drafted the charter of the United Nations. So how many countries had drafted the charter? That is the 50 countries. And as soon as the war got over, that is the Second World War, the charter was signed on 24th of October 1945, and this resulted in the establishment of the United Nations. Now, what were the objectives of the United Nations? So, as it is said to be as the world's largest organization, and we could see that in the beginning only 50 countries had contributed, had participated, and but later the number increased up to 193, and all were the members of the UN. And again, this number nations come together on the platform of the United Nations. All these member nations, they come together on the platform of UN in order to take certain decisions related to various issues. Then the UN had its own definite objectives, and all these objectives were taken into consideration, and was to maintain international peace in the security, then to have friendly relations among the nations, then to enhance international security by solving international disputes not by means of war but by conversation, and to safeguard human rights. And along with this, its main aim was to maintain peace in the country. So that was what we had learnt in part 1, and in part 2 we have seen that all the member countries, they were bound by the duty to respect the diplomatic privileges of sovereign nations. Okay, they were assigned certain duties, and they were bound to do all the duties of the diplomatic privileges of the sovereign nations, and not to attack any countries but to solve the problems by means of negotiations. And this organization, the UN organization, it was created by coming together of the sovereign nations, and it was based on the principles and rules and regulations. Now, what were the principles of UN? As we have already seen, to maintain peace and security, then also there should be equal status should be given to the country. They should not be discriminated on the basis of color, caste, creed, also geographical size, economic or military power. No country is powerful, but all should be treated equal, and then should respect the freedom and geographical unity of other member nations, and all member nations should solve the disputes manually but and peacefully. Then, what was the structure of the United Nations? The Charter describes the structure and functions of the organization. The United Nations has 6 organs, that is General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice, and Secretariat. Then we have learned also about the functions of all these different organs. So apart from these major organs, we had also other important agencies, and which are they? That is the International Labour Organization, the Food Agriculture Organization, World Health Organization, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, that is the MNF, United Nations Children Fund, that is UNICEF, and UNESCO. These were the 6 important agencies. Then we had learnt about the each of these organs, the duties. So all the member countries are the first was the General Assembly, and all the member countries are the members of the General Assembly. The position and status of all the country, whether they are rich or poor, was equal, and every year the General Assembly, it meets a session from September to December. And what did they discuss? They discuss upon the important issues like environment, disarmament, etc. So the decisions are taken by taking into consideration the majority, and all these decisions were in the form of resolutions. Thus General Assembly, it passes resolution and it does not make laws. And so the importance of General Assembly, it lies in being a platform. It was a great platform for the representatives of the member nations to come together and discuss various issues, take policy decisions, and also the issues related to global importance. So this was the United Nations General Assembly that we had seen. Then its function was to elect the permanent, non-permanent members of the Security Council, then to choose UN Secretary General and the judges of the International Court of Justice in consultation with the Security Council, and to pass the annual budget. Then in part 3, children, we had learned about just all these formations of the United Nations organization, the work of the General Assembly. Now, where is the headquarters of the UN? It is at New York. Then English, French, Russian, Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. These are the official languages of the United Nations. Then what is the Security Council? In Security Council, there are 15 members in the Security Council. 5 are permanent members, while 10 are non-permanent members. And the non-permanent members are chosen every 2 years by the General Assembly. So which are the 5 permanent members? America, Russia, England, France, and China. These are the permanent members of the Security Council. These permanent members, they have a veto power. For any decision to be taken, the assent of all 5 permanent members and 4 non-permanent members is necessary. Even if one of the permanent member uses his veto power, that is, it gives a negative vote, then the decision cannot be taken. And then what was the function of the Security Council? Is to maintain international peace and security, and it suggests among the following alternatives, like the situations in the international conflict, resolve the conflict, make efforts to establish peace, impose economic sanctions, and take decisions for military action against the aggressor power. Then also to prepare policies for arms control, and it plays a joint role along with the General Assembly in the appointments of the judges of the International Court of Justice and the United Nations Secretary General. Suggestions are being made to reform the security and make it more democratic. And India is making efforts to get the permanent membership of the Security Council. So, this is what the Security Council is. Then in part 4, we learnt about the Economic and Social Council. What was the main objective of this organization? Is to coordinate the economic and social policies of the UN. And how many members Economic Council has? Total 54 members. And they are, who is electing it? They are elected by the General Assembly. Each member has a tenure of 3 years, and each year 1/3 of the members are newly chosen. So decisions are taken by the majority vote. Now what are its functions? So it initiates the discussions at global level, issues like poverty, unemployment, economic and social inequality, and also suggests policies to solve these problems. Then also issues related to women's question, empowerment of women, human rights, fundamental freedom, trade, health related issues are also taken into consideration. Then it also makes efforts to establish cultural and educational cooperation at the international level. It coordinates the functioning of the different organizations which are working in the United Nations. Then was the Secretariat, and it is the responsibility of the Secretariat of carrying the administrative task of the UN. So the chief of the Secretariat is the Secretary General, and he is selected by the General Assembly and the Security Council. And what is his tenure? His tenure is of 5 years. Now what are the functions of the Secretariat? Is to call international conferences and discuss problems related to global areas like global problems like climate change, human rights, disarmaments. Then it organizes meetings of the General Assembly and Security Council, and then to compile the all in the information and to supply the information to media. Next was the International Court of Justice. It means it is a judicial branch of the UN, and it is located at Hague in Netherlands. And how many judges are there? There are total 15 judges in the International Court of Justice. And who chooses the judges? The General Assembly and the Security Council. And what is the tenure of the judge? Every judge has a tenure of 9 years. Now what are its functions? Its functions are to settle the disputes between two or more member nations of the UN, to interpret international law authentically, and to advise various organs or subsidiary bodies of the UN about legal issues. Then we have the International Criminal Court, and it is international governmental organization and an international tribunal. So its headquarters are at Hague in Netherlands, and the International Criminal Court, it has the jurisdiction rights to prosecute individuals if they have done any international crimes of crimes against humanity and war crimes, and they are concerned to the it affects the peace of the country community. Then children, in the next part we have learnt about the next bodies, the next organs, that is the Trusteeship Council. So after the Second World War, the treaties that were undeveloped were placed under the responsibility of the developed nations, and the latter was supposed to help bring about development of the trust territories, and once they attain independence from their colonies, help establish democracy. Now what is the work of the Trusteeship Council is over, as there are no trust territories left. Now the work of the Trusteeship Council, now it's not there, as there is no trust territories are left further. And so the work of the Trusteeship Council, it ended when the Palau got independence on 1st November 1994. Now what is Palau? It is an island in the Pacific Ocean. Okay. Then the Millennium Development of Goals. Now what were the goals that were brought about? Like the UN member nations, they came together in 2000 and they decided upon certain goals to be achieved for the new millennium. And what were they? To eliminate poverty and hunger, to make facilities of primary education available, and to bring women's empowerment, then to remove infant death and mortality. Then to take special care of health of pregnant women, fight diseases like AIDS, malaria, protect the environment, and increase cooperation between the developed and developing countries. Now what was the time period decided? The time period was decided in order to achieve this goal, and so India has made a considerable progress in the direction of achieving the Millennium Development Goals with the help of UNICEF and UNESCO. Now what is UNICEF? UNICEF, it is an affiliated organization of the UN. It works towards making nutritious food and health care available to children. Then several workshops were organized in India in order to find out the measures to overcome malnutrition amongst the babies and children. UNESCO is another organization of the UN. It works for the peace and security in the world by promoting cooperation between member countries in the field of education. Then United Nations and preservation of peace. Now, as we have learnt about the different objectives of the UN to maintain and peace in the country, the United Nations Charter, it lays down the ways and means to be employed in order to achieve this goal. And what did it include? It included the legal procedure, appointment on arbitrator to solve the disputes, and if needed to take recourse to military means and ensure that conflict will not occur. In modern times, human security has been threatened by terrorism, racist and religious conflict. So we can see that the functions of securing peace of the United Nations has got a lot of importance. Now, United Nations made efforts to ensure that violence does not erupt in strife-torn areas, and also there is peace in the country, like the starting schools, creating awareness among the people. How will they spread awareness among the people? By means of media, by means of schools, and also making people aware about their rights, social economic facilities that are available. And then we had the peacekeeping force, which worked in the times of natural calamities, and also bring about permanent peace in the strife-torn areas. These peacekeeping force, they help the areas to progress towards peace. In conflict-ridden, then security is provided, and at the same time help is also extended. So the UN takes peacekeeping as one of the tasks of safeguarding and fostering peace. Then there are certain things or actions the UN may take supplementary to peacekeeping: prevention of conflict and mediation, actually establish peace, implement the measures of protecting peace. What about UN and India? How is it? So India had actively participated in the different conferences which were held before the establishment of UN, and it has also participated in bringing issues like decolonization, disarmament, racial segregation on the UN platform. And in 1946, India was the first country to raise the question of racism in UN. So India has always led the discussions about the problems of undeveloped and developing countries, and it had sent troops to participate in the UN peacekeeping force, and India has sent an all women peacekeeping force as well. So it is evident from the foregoing analysis that India makes serious efforts to solve international conflicts by peaceful means. So children, we have just revised the lesson once again in short. So here we stop with the lesson today. Thank you, children.